Hello, hello, hello out there in CAV land. Welcome to another edition of CAV HQ Live. I am your host, CAVBoss. I am running solo tonight. Mr. James had some other things come up that he needed to deal with, so you get just me, for better or worse. He tends to keep the conversation moving a little better, but we will do our best and work through it. So we'll give everybody a little bit of time to show up, and then we're going to talk about CAV or things thereabout. I do plan on. I brought a few of the new cards out of the new initiative deck we're working on. We'll be showing those tonight. Some of them anyway. Ilmrin, hello. How you doing? Welcome. We are just kind of chilling for a minute, give everybody a little chance. Cthulhu, hello. Chilling like a villain. We'll see what we can stir up tonight for the CAV initiated. Oh, another long day. I'm not looking forward to the hot days of summer. I like the cool days or the medium days of spring much better. So we shall see. But I hope everybody is doing well tonight. I finished getting the pre-shading, the black part done on my drop ship today, so that's done. So I will have that ready to show next week as I start filling in the panels. And by the time it's all done, you'll just barely be able to see the black in there, but it just gives it a little bit more of a worn look. So I've got to tape off some parts of it too, because some of it's going to have some reds and stuff on it too. So for the design that I'm going for the look. Just finished the dry fit on the power substation. Well, don't be careful and don't get electrocuted. No, be electric safe. Oh, everybody's a smartass. I spent most of the day. I had lots of little projects today that I've been kind of working on. I'm up here upstairs where we have the studio and everything, and the 3D printers and stuff. I'm kind of rearranging it, kind of cleaning it up after it was kind of like a bomb went off during CavCon. So things got moved around and changed around. So trying to make it a little more conducive to do the work that needs to be done up here this summer. So I've definitely got to get all the 3D printers all finally hooked back up and going. So that'll be a big deal. But that's about it. I had some orders that went out today, and it was definitely a hump day. I will say that for sure. Of course, my hump day is just intro to more work this week, but hey, it is what it is. All right. So hopefully everybody that's going to show up tonight is here, and we'll just kind of go from there. So we'll talk a little bit about CAV, I guess. If anybody's got anything in particular you would like me to talk about tonight, before I'm going to kind of wait till after the halfway point to kind of dive into the initiative cards. I know that I saw some more pictures up today of some of the ADON and stuff that was up for the Slow Grow League that James is putting together. He did promise he would be back next Monday. So I think he's going to miss Stompy Robot podcast this month because it's his anniversary. So I think Ross is planning on ramrodding that deal. So we'll see what he needs and if I can help him or something. Oh gosh, my gosh, I got the yawns. I don't know if there's something in the air today. My eyes have been watering. Not rotting, just itching, just grinding on me a little bit. Okay. Well, everybody's pretty quiet tonight so far. So, I spent a little bit this afternoon talking. I've got a new sculptor that's coming online. And he is going to be doing a new set of light, heavy, and power armor infantry that we are going to be releasing. It is my hope that we will be able to do these in dual cast. I think that we will. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But hopefully we'll have some preview pictures here in the next couple of weeks so we can kind of give you an idea of where we're going with these. But yeah, he's got a lot of experience with sculpting small figures. He does a lot of 6mm stuff. So this is actually a lot easier for him to do. And my hope is that we'll do the 10mm and then that it'll hopefully switch over to 15mm as well, because I'd like to do some in 15mm, just as a side gig for people that play some other games in 15mm. There's some good crossover there, so we'll see how they work out. If they don't, I'll probably have him go back and do some 15mm. But I think they'll convert over pretty good from what I've seen that he does. So yeah, the initial stuff that he's going to be working on is all 10mm, but if when you 3D print stuff and you enlarge stuff, sometimes it gets kind of weird, because it looks good at a smaller scale. When you blow it up a little bit, it doesn't look so hot. So I think that, like I said, once we have the 10mm stuff in, I want to try to run some in 15mm, so that we can have some for other games that people use for 15mm. If they don't, it's something we're going to look at down the road. So I want to try to do some more things in 15mm that are kind of outside the normal CAV universe. You'll see here this year, besides CAV, you're going to see us kind of diving into some other things. So we'll have the 28mm, the Rogue Legion line, which will have some CAV figures in it, but it'll have lots of other sci-fi and stuff like that. some 15 millimeter vehicles, things like that. So may come back and do a couple of calves in 15 millimeter, just to have them out there. I know that when we did trophies for a couple of years, we used 15 millimeter dictators for those, and they looked pretty cool. So. Just something, we've got to move into some other areas as we go, and with dual cast, that gives us a lot of options. So it's just going to be minis. I really don't have any desire right now to do another rule set for. We've talked about, we're kind of playing around with the role playing games, so a lot of the 28 millimeter and stuff can kind of work in those as well. You've got Stargrave out, and other games that are like that can use some minis. So we'll go with there. Maybe down the road I might do another set of rules for something. I don't know. I know we've talked a little bit about a skirmish game for the 28 millimeter stuff as well. But there's lots of things there to experiment with as we move forward. So. Especially the 15 millimeter, there's so many good games out there that are more generic type rules that a lot of people use for 15 millimeter. There's grunts and dirt side and hammer slammers, and there's a lot of good rules out there, but yeah, well, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, 10 millimeter is CAV scale, so everything that we do for CAV is 10 millimeter, so that crosses over regardless. But a lot of people play 15 millimeter in dirt side and grunts and stuff like that. And there's not a lot of stuff out there. There's not a really hardcore 15 millimeter manufacturer out there. It kind of jumps around a little bit here and there. And I think there's a couple of companies in England that tend to do a little bit more of them, but that can be more expensive to get it over here and stuff. And I think too, with being able to do everything in dual cast, that'll help a whole lot too. Price wise. For the figures. And just like I mentioned at the early, I do have some of the new initiative cards that I'm going to show off tonight. They're kind of some pre-production copies, so I'm not sure if they're 100% done, but we're going to kind of save that for the back half of the show. So. 184 millimeters, Colonel Kane. I believe I'm going to stay away from that. We do have the Starhawk 7. We're going to get closer on that. We've looked at a couple of different ways. I think that with the dual cast, we'll be able to do a lot of it in dual cast, and then maybe just have to do resin cast the body, the main structure or whatever, which will cut way down on price and production. So noted, Colonel Kane. I worked on it some this week, so it's just been a weird week. I don't know what I guess it was. We've just been so hammered over the last, ever since CavCon, and then this weekend. I kind of took the weekend off, and it's been hard for me to get back up to speed. Yeah, so how the new deck works is you draw at the beginning of before the match, is you put a normal activation card into for each squad, just like you normally would do. Then there are tactical cards and there are event cards. So you will draw one tactical card at random or roll or however you want to do it per squad. And then each side gets one event card. So if you have 3 squads, you will have 7 cards in your side of the deck. So if it's 3 squads versus 3 squads, there'll be 14 cards in the deck. So that way it spreads the cards out a little bit. It gives a little bit more flavor to what you're doing, and makes it easier to shuffle. Obviously, shuffling 14 cards instead of 6 cards is a lot easier. Those will be cool. But you still only are going to draw 6 cards. So, even though the deck has 14 cards, only the first 6 cards, unless something else is done, is going to be played. Also, it makes recon cards a little more, or recon ability a little more better, because you could always, if it's a tactical activation or an event activation or something like that, you can roll that to the bottom just like you can any other card and have that gone. So what scale are those in? I'm not sure what you're asking. What scale is what? Then as squads die, you'll just take out the normal activation cards. So it'll decrease the chance of you having a card, but maybe not as bad as it would have been if there's only 6 cards and you take one out. Now you're down to 2. So the Starhawk is going to be like the big dictator. It's 28 millimeter, 32 millimeter. We're having a hard time deciding on which of those 2 is the right one. The one side of me wants to do 32 millimeter, but I'm afraid that it'll make it harder for those to match up with some of the other things that are out there. So we're getting some figures in. We're doing some measuring right now, and luckily it's such a close enough number. Once we start producing, it'll be easy to adjust. Just have something that we stick to, and on the bigger stuff, it's not as important. When you get into a 7 and 8 inch tall mini, the difference between a 28 and a 32 millimeter model is so insignificant, it's really hard to notice. And the initiative deck, there'll be cards in there as well for, if that you can use for like the Ritter faction doctrine. There'll be like the extra cards you can add from the battlefield assets, like the SIGINT cards and stuff. So but we're still rolling. Like I said, I expect us to have, our first real release was the Kodiak and the Mamba, but we'll have a June release. I've got to decide here pretty soon which ones we're going to do first. We're getting better and better at getting everything put together. It's really more of the mold making that's the problem as we learn, because it's totally different mold making than any mold making we've ever done before. From back when doing metal casting and everything like that. So the actual process of making them is relatively easy. It's an injection machine. You put the mold in, you push a button, it does the rest. But you have to get the molds right. So that's where we're learning. But my hope is that we will have at least 2 models a month to release, especially here at the beginning, just because we have such a backlog of figures. We may, after we get kind of through that pile, we may slow down a little bit and maybe do an every other month release or something. But right now, I think that doing 2 a month will be pretty easy for us to keep. You know, I don't know about that one. That was a crisp project. We really don't have anywhere in the game for it right now. It wasn't anything that was already there. So and I need a little time for it to grow on me. It's kind of like the Nomic. Um, you have to set your own pace. I'm not that wild about it. So it doesn't excite me, apparently, as much as it does some of you. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good model. It just, like I said, it just hasn't done anything to me. And it's so, like I said, it's not anything that we've already got listed. It's not anything that we're working towards. So we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll be something down the road we can look at. Well, it excites me. Well, I know. I know what that. It's got a little bit of an Egyptian name to it, and you go nuts. Yeah, the Nomic has grown on me over the years. I'm all right with the legs. It's got some weird kind of different feet, but I think that's what makes it better. I think that it's kind of got a stranger look to it, and but and also with the as we dive into other models and other lines, that'll spread out the release schedule a little bit. Right now, all we have is CAV to release. But as we get into the new Rogue Legion stuff, some of the 15 millimeter figures, things like that, that'll kind of spread out the deal. The knees and hips make me sad. It's flimsy. You mean as the actual model, or just the look? I don't think we've ever had any problems with it being where it falls apart or anything. I can honestly say that's the first time I've ever heard that. It's just a pain to dry fit to paint. Well, yeah, that's a possibility. So, it's one of the earlier designs. It came out in the very first Kickstarter. So, who knows down the road? Maybe there'll be a Nomic 2.0. Yeah, I think when it's all put together, I haven't heard anybody have any problems with it. So hopefully you didn't get a bad one. Double check and make sure that it's all formed like it's supposed to be too. Yeah, a lot of the ones in the first Kickstarter, especially, were much tighter fitting with the way they were put together. Well, we're actually probably going to be, that'll probably be something you'll see kind of change with the dual cast. They may not be as tight um, as what we've done so far, just because we're getting some weird, and it's as we learn and we'll get better at it. We're getting some weird compression, so that's kind of like what you saw with the Kodiak, as far as the gun not fitting down in the area that it's supposed to be. So we're trying to figure out where that's coming from, whether it's during the mold process or during the master process or during the actual casting. So that's something that we're figuring out. If it's something that we can fix, that'll be great. If not, we may have to give everything just a little bit more wiggle room so that when it compresses, it has enough room for everything to still fit. Now, I will say this too about the initiative deck. It will not be a true card deck like the first one is. So it's not being set up so that you can play poker with it too if you want to. So kind of keep that in mind. But we've got the original deck that you can play poker with if you want to. So that'll be all good. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see here if we can pull up. Of course, there's two decks. There's red and black. So I just kind of grabbed some random. There is quite a bit of new artwork in the deck. There's some reused stuff, but we had a lot of cards. So let's see here. Our first one to look at. All right, so this is an activation card. This is just your normal card with the number on it. They are numbered, so if you want to assign something to a specific number or something, you can. If not, it'll just be an activation card. But basically what you see here is the layout for the front of the cards. This is a red card, naturally. And such as ODST. Yeah, if you need to assign something to it or whatever. There's also going to be, there's some generic cards in the deck too, so you can always use one of those if you want to. So anyway, each card has its own individual picture. It says what it is. This is an activation card. And then every card that's like this has a little quote or something from somebody in the game universe or something like that. Cards that actually do anything also have a description on them as to what they do. So that is that is a red activation card there. So we get a little Dana Murphy right off the bat out there to introduce us to the CAV universe. And these are normal playing card size. So, and I believe they will have little rounded corners. I think like the cards that we have now. So. All right, so let's see. Let's pull up another one here. This was I just kind of had to put this together, so bear with me here as we change this out here. All right, so this is a tactical card, and so as you'll see, it has a T up there instead of the number to show that it's a tactical card. Again, it says it's a tactical card. And this particular card is a command decision. So this is an actual card that when you draw this card, you will be able to activate your squad on the red side because every card still counts as an activation card. But with tactical cards, they actually allow you to get a special or something that goes in there. I think each side has 8 tactical cards to start with. Down the road, we'll add extra new cards and stuff for special events, things like that. Let's see if I can read it. I guess I should have printed me up some so I can read. allows for something. Maybe you can read it on if you got a better monitor without me blowing it way up. So I guess I could look on the, see if it shows up better on here. Yeah, well, it gets a little blurry because it's on the monitor. When it's actually printed out, it'll be good and sharp. Get a free C3. Okay, there you go. So command decision gives you a free C3 point to use during your activation. Now, anything that happens just happens during your activation. So if you don't use your point, you don't get it. It doesn't carry over. You can't save it. I said when they're printed out and they're all nice and sharp, they look good. They do have to be small, just because it's we don't have a whole lot of room when we're dealing with cards. All right, so let's see what our next card is here. And bring this one up. And that is a new artwork card, by the way, too. So. All right, here's another no, you still are, you only get to use one C3 point, but it gives you a free one that you can say if you've got your other ones, you can save them for a later turn, or if you've already used them up. All right, so this is another tactical card. Yeah, so this is a mobile mechanic, which is Repair 1 DT. So you will actually be able to pick a model that's in from the squad that you activated and automatically get 1 DT back. So like I said, they're not set up to do huge, big things, but they can make a little bit of difference. Correct. Yeah, it just allows you to fix. You can't fix lingering damage. Yeah, everything still works within the normal confines of the rules. It's just giving you a freebie or something like that. Now, yeah, I mean, it could save somebody that was getting ready to die. Or if you had one that was right on the line that had just gone over into something else, and that moved him back up, and exactly. And it may come up and it may not come up. Again, like I said, with 7 cards, you only get 3 of them every turn. So, all right, let's see. What's our next one? All right, I think this is an event card. And this has new art on it, too. Now, I think that some of these are not all been finished up yet. So there's just kind of some text in there as holding. So don't... It may not be exactly how it's going to be on the final one, or it may just be something that we've thrown in there for now. So, but I just kind of wanted to kind of give you an idea. But like I said, this is an event card. Now, an event card is something that will affect your force as a whole, not just your squad. And it's something generally has to be done in order to activate that card. So, or a certain situation has to be met. We're still kind of tweaking them a little bit, but it has a little more oomph to it. So hence why you only have one event card in the entire deck for you. So if it comes up and you're able to do what that particular event asks you to do, or meet those criteria, then you'll get that that event to happen for the remainder of the turn, and it can affect your entire force as opposed to just that squad. And again, you will activate a normal squad on this card like you would with any other activation card. All right, so and like I said, this is a new art one too. So let's look at some black cards. I think we've got some black cards to look at. All right, so this is a new art card too. This is a just an activation card for the black, but it kind of shows you how the colors change up for it. Again, I think there's just some holding text in there right now, so I was working from the file and kind of just grabbing some random ones to show today. So, but you can definitely tell that the guys designed this deck. So, but it's kind of a tech look there. Maybe, I don't know. She might be a pilot or a tech one. I'm not sure, but hey, she's there. But, and like I said, this is a black card, so it shows you the difference where the colors and everything. So, all right, let's see what we've got for our next black card. This is a new art card as well. This is another one of the tactical cards that come up for black. Golden BB, I think it does double damage. Yeah, you'll be able to do more damage with this particular card when it comes up. So that's an actual. I don't think that the quote is right in it yet, but but the tactical is good. Yeah. We got a little amethyl concussion action going on there. Yes. So depending on how you use it and when you do it and stuff like that, you could definitely. But I believe you have to declare it before you do the attack. So if it's you won't know if you've actually done it until you actually roll it. So, but yeah, it could be a pretty deadly card. And both sides have the same cards. So you have, depending on whether you roll for them or just draw them out of the deck, both sides have the equal opportunity and may have the same tactical cards in their deck. There are 8 cards that are coming in the deck for each side. So same thing with event cards. So there's a black one and a red one of everything. All right. All right, this is another black tactical card, and this one I think gets extra move action. I think so you could actually, if you wanted to move 3 move actions at one time. Yeah, well, and that's the deal. But it's all random. I mean, you can obviously, if you guys want to pick what you're going to pick. But I think to get the full flavor out of this, you want to have the ability. You want them to be random. That way, you can't design your force around the cards. You never know what you're going to get. And I think that adds that extra element into the game. And then down the road, like I said, we'll add new cards. Um, another thing that'll be really good, especially with like the event cards, we'll tie those in with scenarios. So when we start publishing some different scenarios and have some objectives or whatever, we'll actually tie the cards into that particular scenario. So you may have an event card, but your event is already selected for you as part of the scenario. So when the event card comes up, you get what comes with the scenario. So that's I think going to be kind of a cool thing that we're going to do with them. So, all right, I think I got one more card, and that is kind of new art. That is we've used some of the JOR the standalone art and kind of incorporated that with some backgrounds and stuff to get some new looks to it. So it's kind of new and not new. And then here's another. This is one of the black event cards that's got the Adenese Enforcer on it. And again, the event cards are not finalized yet. So this is just some stuff that's standing in there. We're still getting all of our quotes and everything together. So. Well, yeah, but some of the art was this style was used in the original rule book. The Enforcer was not, but the Imperator's on the very back cover. So your force has been glazed. Yeah. Well, and like I said, that'll be something cool that we'll be able to encompass with some of the scenarios. And then like I said, I'm hoping that we can have some, special cards that people will be able to get at that we'll do like a convention card for the year or, maybe use like the points from the back of the blister cards. That's something that we're getting ready to start rolling out as far as so people can use those to get. And the things that you'll be able to get with those points that's the only way you'll be able to get them. It'll be unique, a unique shirt, a unique patch, maybe from time to time a unique miniature that we do or a variant of one that you'll only be able to use those proof of purchase points for. So we're finally getting that all kind of straightened out too. So. But I'm real happy with them. Of course, all the backs will be the same on all of them. We're finalizing the back art of you would think, well, since it's the same art for every one, but just trying to get the look down that I want it to be. So, well, and I've been preaching that ever since we started selling figures. So, at some point we would get that together. But yes, you do want to save those backs of your cards, your blister card packs. All right, so that kind of shows some of the cards that are going to be in the new activation deck. Like I said, there's at least 56 cards. There might be a few more. I don't know what the actual count ended up being. Because like I said, there's going to be some generic cards in there. There's some cards to use for other things. I know, and I it was one of those things that we wanted to have earlier on, and it just, I just couldn't exactly figure out how I wanted the program to go, and we changed our minds and something else became more important or whatever. And, but we're getting it all situated. The biggest thing is of course is going to is redeeming them. Cause it's not something you'll be able to do, necessarily totally online. You'll print out a PDF or whatever and fill it out and send it in with your proof of purchase points to redeem. But like I said, everything that it will be available, that will be the only way you can get it, is by turning in proof of purchase points. They will be unique to that program. All right, so we've got about 15 minutes left, 14 minutes or so. Anybody have any questions? Any critiques? If you don't like the cards, I don't know that really matters at this point, but hopefully Hobby Habit says the art is awesome, so that's a big plus. I'm pretty happy with them. I think they turned out really good. I think they're sharp. They obviously have a lot more character to them than the original card deck, and it's just something that we can build with that I think will make the deck system that we use much more a part of the game, as opposed to just being kind of an add-on way to do initiative. I can't give you an exact date. I've decided I quit trying to tell people exactly when it's going to be. We're because of the fact that there are actual painted miniatures for every figure in there. I'm trying to get everybody done. I'm trying to get the figures done. We brought on a couple of more painters. I've got to check the list to see where we're at. So hopefully it'll go. All right, thoughts on revetments? Yes, actually, we do. This is something actually, since you asked last time how we're going to do that, and tentatively, I'm still kind of tweaking it or whatever like that. But if you are in a revetment, you will not be considered stationary. And this is going to kind of change over with some of the other cover rules as well. So I'm kind of going through and testing against everything to make sure on that. But that's basically what will happen. Is if you're in something like a revetment that is giving you cover, then you get the revetment cover, and you are not considered stationary. My thought process behind this is, if you are using something for cover, whether it's a revetment that you're behind a hill or something like that, that you will adjust yourself to be in the best position you can towards somebody firing from that direction. And so that kind of negates the just standing out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I mean, it's going to work just like it normally works. You just don't get the stationary modifier. Yes, the plan is if you are in some kind of cover that from that particular model shooting at you or whatever, then you ignore the stationary mod. And I think that's the easiest way to do it without trying to rewrite the whole, on a whole nother rule for it. Is basically, like I said, I'm trying to get the verbiage finished down on it and checking against every direction where it applies to. But obviously, in hindsight, thinking about it, the fact that stationary kind of defeats the purpose of getting cover. If you get into cover, and then you're going to get end up giving up a -1 or a -2 to be hit. There's no reason to get into cover and try to get into a defensive position. So basically, that's the way I look at it. Is if you put yourself into a situation where you get some defensive cover, it is assumed that you are maximizing that particular cover to the best of your ability, and that's kind of a wash on being stationary. Really, where the stationary mod really is to come into play is for you just standing out in the middle of the board. If you're just out in a clear spot, you get a good line of fire or whatever, you get at a good range, and you just decide to pillbox up, and that's fine if you want to do that. But obviously, that's not always going to be the best thing for you. The main thing with CAV is right. Yeah, and that's really where the stationary mod comes into play. Is we really want. I mean, CAV is a game of maneuver. We want everybody to keep moving. So if it makes it deadly for you to sit still, it's a tactical choice that you have to make. If you're able to, provide cover for somebody and get into a position, and you can stay stationary because they're probably going to shoot at the guys up in their face or something, that you can do that. But if you like I said, if you walk out in the middle of the board and decide to pillbox up and just stand there and and it happens in every game. But my main experience dealing with that kind of stuff is back playing BattleTech. It was always everybody, and obviously with the ranges being shorter, that's one of the reasons we use longer range too, as we got into this conversation before, is, we don't want to spend the first half of the game moving. That's boring. Let's get on the board. Let's start shooting one another. It may not be the best shots, but at least it's shooting and doing something. But my experience with BattleTech always was everything collapsed down until it got to its prime range. So, if you had guys out there with autocannon 20s or whatever, they all got within 9 hexes of each other, and then nobody moved from then on. Everybody stood still, and it just shot each other, and rolling dots off. And I don't want that. I want, you can make that choice if you want to, but you're going to pay for it. And because CAV is a game maneuver, we want to keep you moving. And that's where yeah, and I mean, and you still are going to have that. I mean, obviously, there's fixed positions that you can get into that are just really good. BattleTech tried to fix that, or tried to keep around that by using partial cover. So, yes, if you want to get up there and stand behind the level 1 hill or whatever, and have partial cover, and stand there and get that, that's fine. But if you do get hit, we're rolling 1 dice, and there's a good chance you're going to get hit in the head a lot more often than you would normally. So that's kind of an offset of there. And you're always going to have that. Somebody can get into a prime spot that they've got good cover, that they're willing to give up a mod or whatever like that, just to take the shots. But really where it's going to come down to is when you do that, you're going to have other models be more important for the other side to shoot, if that makes sense. Yes, yeah, rockets definitely keep everybody on the move. They are, of course, as we've tweaked them a little bit. They're not nearly as bad as they were with some of the changes with the range mods and stuff like that, and going away from the 10 plus roll. But that's down the hill there. But And that's, like I said, my intention is for the stationary modifier to go to a -2 as opposed to the -1 right now. That way we can get rid of a state. We don't need to have a new state. We can use one of the other states that we already have. And -2 that's a big number in a 2d6 system when you're rolling a +2 to your being to the roll of the guy shooting at you. That's a big number to give up. There may be times that you're okay with giving up that number, to get that perfect shot or to finish somebody off. But by the same token, it's going to hurt. We want to keep everybody moving. But yeah, I mean, obviously, indirect fire with rockets is always going to keep. Um, would that make knockdown and stunned a +4? Well, um, yeah, I mean, it'll be the worst mod of the batch. So if you're stunned, that are you a +2 to hit or just a -2 to your rolls? I don't know. I'm sorry, I have to go back and look on that deal, but we'll get it all cleaned up. But obviously, if you are, I mean, the states will build on each other. Right. So if you're stunned, you lose your action, so you can't move. Yeah, you'll just be considered stationary. The stun and that is a wash, and we'll clarify that. Now, if you are knocked down, like I said again, that modifier will takes into account. It's basically the same thing. It's just a different version of. Those are things that we've got to clarify as we go through, and thanks for bringing that up, because it's before we moved ahead with any changes to it, we wanted to make sure that we get all that balanced out. So as of right now, no, those are we've already given you a +2. It all works out. It's all kind of the same thing, whether you stand in the middle of somewhere or you're knocked down, or you're just standing there. Yeah, +4 would be pretty ugly. But we'll look at it as we go along and make sure we get it all clarified before we put it into final being. All right, well, we're down here to the last minute. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation tonight. I hope you've enjoyed our new initiative deck preview. James should be back next week, so you won't have to listen to me drone on. At least I'll let him break the conversation a little bit. Thanks for you guys. Like I said, this is, I do CAV because I love games. I love CAV. There's, we still have to pay to keep the lights on and everything, but we try to keep it all as affordable and as fun as we can for everybody. So, but we certainly appreciate you guys. So anyway, have a good night. And Chris should be here on Saturday. I'm not sure what he's going to be working on. He's been busy with some other things and stuff going on, and we really haven't had a time to talk here for a while. So we need to put that together. I think he was on here earlier. Yeah, he's kind of here. So hopefully he's listening into some deal that he'll actually come out of his cave at some point and come and talk to me. So anyway, good night, guys. Take care. Appreciate it. Be safe. Hasta la vista.